Mr. Peter Fury.
I probably was dangerous back then anyway. I was controlling a city. People spin a story and they don't tell the truth. If they had a problem, I'd be the enforcer to go and deal with it. I wasn't like a chancer or an idiot on gear.
There's a lot of them, aren't there?
I was a serious person doing serious things. If you're a tosser, you are what you are.
You can't untoss yourself.
If anybody had a problem with me, they can have a problem now. The reason why I took that guilty plea was to get me missus out of it, because she was looking at a 7.
We've had cut A's on it, but not triple cut A's. You're our first triple cut A.
They accused me of all sorts, as a mass murderer and whatever.
So Paul Massey was there. What was Paul like?
You keep out of my way and I'll keep out of yours. Or if you want to get in my way, shut the door behind you.
I remember when you trained Tyson Fury and he fought Klitschko and everyone was like, he hasn't got a chance.
I've seen people stabbed through the neck with toilet brushes.
And that is a bad way to go, death by toilet brush.
I've been involved in serious crime and I've done serious times. £3 million worth of drugs coming from Belgium.
I think they call it fuck you money.
I'm lucky to be here, I'd say. Definitely.
You're probably all wondering how the Podfather managed to produce and host an award-nominated true crime show. I'm gonna let you into a little secret. It's because I've got an Emma Sleep Ottoman bed and a Lux cooling mattress. And let me tell you about the Lux cooling mattress. It's as cool as a cucumber in a freezer. It's got thermosync technology and I'm out like a light as soon as my head hits a pillow. This mattress is like my silent partner in crime. It absorbs any suspicious activity to ensure you get a great night's sleep, whether you're solving mysteries or chasing dreams. As a man that enjoys the finer things in life, this bed ticks all the boxes for me, but the cherry on the top is the hidden storage space. So you don't have to hide the skeletons in the closet anymore. Oh, there she is. Kiss the ring, baby. Let's get ready to rumble. For a shot at the best sleep of your life, see Exhibit A, an Emma Sleep bed. Exhibit B, an Emma Sleep mattress. Emma Sleep currently has their Easter sale campaign with up to 40% off. That's right, you heard it right. Up to 40% off. Now that's an offer you can't refuse. So up to 40% discount isn't enough. It ain't enough. Well, for an extra 5%, all you need to do is enter my code, Criminal Connection, for an extra 5% off. It'd be rude not to. So don't miss out on this one. It's for a limited time only. Make sure you go down to the link below, click on it, enter the code, and that 5% additional discount is all yours. They've got the best beds. Trust me, this is a deal, this is a steal, this is the sale of the century. Now get your nut down and enjoy the show. I want to say a big thanks to all our sponsors. We love you. And without you, we wouldn't be able to make this amazing show. Big thank you to Dr. Green NFT for being one of our sponsors of the show. So the Dr. Green NFT project is coming out of Portugal and it's going to revolutionise the way that medical is transacted and distributed throughout the world. Thank you so much to Unisystems Freight UK, this amazing freight forwarding company. If you've got anything you need sending overseas, make sure you get in touch with the Unisystems Freight boys. If you want to learn any more about any of our amazing sponsors, make sure you check out the links in the description below.
Welcome back to the Criminal Connection podcast. My name's Terry Stone, and today we've got a very special guest, Mr. Peter Fury. Come on, Peter.
Good to see you.
Good to see you.
And you? Always good, Terry.
So I'm absolutely obsessed with actually finding out who the real Peter Fury is, because obviously, have you written a book yet?
No, everybody writes a book, so I decided to do the opposite. Every wannabe famous guy wants to write a book, it seems.
Yeah, no, do you know something? I asked because so many people that I know that have gone through anything in life and have come out the other end and then obviously achieved greatness. For me, it's something that should be celebrated. So I always think, but maybe you need to do that later on, because maybe you still got a few more things you want to.
Well, I'm healthy, so I've got a lot more to do yet. So maybe when I'm in a wheelchair or something, and then I'll probably get the brains gone. I won't be able to do anything.
I'm ready to write my book. I can't remember anything.
Exactly, you'll be one of them, won't it? That's what will probably happen.
So where was you born, Peter?
Born in Dewsbury in Yorkshire. But I wasn't from there. We were travellers. We stayed in a caravan. My father stayed on the side of the road, put me in the hospital, and I come back the next day, and off we went.
Right.
So that's my Dewsbury heritage, but I was born there.
Right. Wow. So growing up, obviously, as a traveller, and you obviously went. Was it mainly the UK? You sort of went from town to town, or
Mainly, up and down England. A lot in the Derbyshire, the northwest, sometimes London, everywhere really.
Right.
Yeah, we travelled the country with my mother and father.
Right. Amazing.
Yeah, it was a good bringing up actually. It was hard, but it was a good bringing up. We had a good mother and father.
What did your mother and father do? Were they?
My father was just like he'd be a door-to-door salesman.
Right.
And so would my mother. And after looking after us, they both worked and they done what they can. He'd just turn his hand to anything to get a few quid.
Yeah, amazing.
So that was it.
Loads of my friends are travellers, and what I love about the travelling community is that they graft and they know how to make a pound note. There's never. I don't think I've ever met a lazy travelling man.
No, well, we're put to work from a young age. I think I first started trying to get me living when I was about 9.
Wow.
So left school at 8.
Yeah.
And so it was, like I say, it was difficult, but it was a good childhood as well.
So what was the sort of day thing? Was it just like, you'd be playing in the field and was you travelling as in a big family? There was like a load of you. It wasn't just you and your mum and dad.
Well, I'm one of 4 brothers, yeah. So there was my mother and father and, the 4 of us. So it was, we'd be doing all sorts. We'd be playing in barns, in hay barns, in farmers' fields and all stuff like this. I've all got good memories of it, to be fair.
Yeah, brilliant.
It was good bringing up.
And when did you first put your hands up? Was it from like, because I've never told you this, but you remember Les Stevens?
Yeah, of course I do.
So I went to his boxing club, Pinewood Star.
Yeah.
Because everyone said to me, if you want to learn how to fight, that's the best place. And obviously then it was a Travellers Boxing Club, but I didn't know. So when I walked in the door, he was like, I think you're in the wrong place, Mush. And I was a bit like, I want to learn to fight, you know what I mean? And he was like, no, you're a gorger, mate. And I was like, what's fucking gorger? And he's like, you, Mush, right? But I think he thought I was funny, so he let me sort of stay. And I remember, I think I was probably 15 when I walked in the door, but I remember seeing, and there was a travelling site over the road from the boxing club, and there was a couple of, like, there must have been 4 or 5-year-old boys in a ring, like bashing each other senseless. And I was like, I'd have hate for my mum and dad to have put me up to that, when I was that age. But he was like, no, that's what we do. We start them young. So I don't know if that was your experience. Did you get involved in it young?
Not really. We always moved by ourselves. We wasn't really with other travellers.
Right.
Sometimes we pull on stopping sites with other travellers, but a lot of the times we'd pull on fields and stuff, and it'd just be mother and father and us, or my mother and father, or maybe his sister or one of his brothers and stuff like that. And we used to go to the local boxing gyms in the villages, wherever we was.
Yeah.
So that's basically it. But we never really boxed with other travellers.
Right. And did you? I take it you actually had. Did you have amateur fights or?
No, I had very few amateur fights, or just one.
Right.
When I was even married. So although we was in gyms all the time, it would, we never. I think growing up, we never stayed in one place to be carded to have amateur fights.
Got it.
It was here, there, and everywhere.
But was it more bare knuckle stuff you were doing, or?
We was in a lot of trouble when I was younger in various skirmishes, yeah. But it is. But it was it was hard bringing up, but it was good at the same time.
Right. And when you was getting in these skirmishes, was that with other travellers, or was it just when you rocked up to a new place? People would be.
I think it's a new place. I think when you're going into these new places and you meet people, and problems obviously happen. But it was rough and ready back then. There was no knives. There was nothing like that. You had a problem, you just go outside and you deal with it.
Right.
You'd have fisticuffs or whatever. You shake hands and that'd be it.
Yeah.
There'd be no gloves on, obviously, but that was it. But it was just normal. I remember they used to come down at the estates and stuff, and there'd be a load of them. But there was no such a thing as anybody getting tooed or anything like that. Nobody getting 2'd or 3'd or whatever.
Right.
They'd have a fair scuffle and whatever happened, and that was it.
But it seems now like people, they will use a knife or a bottle or a hammer or whatever. It seems like when you're fighting now, you never know what you're going to get.
Well, I've got sons myself, and it's dangerous out there today. It's not like it was. It definitely isn't like it was. So I think a lot of the values, a lot of respect has gone, and they like to use knives. I don't understand for the life of me, and I've grown up in a violent culture really. When I was younger, I've seen a lot of stuff, but at the end of the day, I couldn't see myself putting a knife in somebody's flesh. That's not what I'm about.
Yeah,
I just don't like that, to be honest.
Yeah,
you don't do that to another man. Why would you do that? Are you afraid of taking an hiding? Are you afraid of getting hit? Well, keep your mouth shut and be civil.
Yeah,
don't do that. Because and a lot of young kids they're doing it as well and people's dying. I don't even think that they realise what they're doing here. Did they realise when you stab somebody that it could go anywhere? It's more luck than judgment. They stay alive.
Yeah.
When you stab somebody, literally, you're not bothered then if they're going to die or not. So that's bizarre to me. I don't understand that behaviour whatsoever. I don't know what the answer is.
Well, I think what you were on earlier, Pete, was bang on about the respect. I think the respect seems to have gone now. And I was actually having a conversation the other day with a parent, and they said, they found their son carrying a blade. And they said to him, like, what are you doing? You're not meant to carry knives. They're illegal. And he was like, well, it's for protection, because everyone's carrying them. Do you know what I mean? And I've seen some horrendous videos where these kids have just, had a fight with somebody and been stabbed to death. And you just sort of think, it's just insane.
But the answer's so simple. He just said everybody's carrying them, then choose your company.
Yeah.
Move away from that crowd.
Absolutely.
Because anybody that's got knives, you don't need to be messing with them, do you?
No.
I back in the day, I've had people get in the motor with me and I said, oh, you're all right, such a thing. And I've gone, he says, yeah, I'm good. Anyway, and I've just looked up and down at him. I said, are you carrying anything? Yeah, he pulls a pistol out. I said, get out the car. I said, mate, if I get caught down the road with you, I said, I'm going to get a 10 stretch. It's not even my fucking gun, is it?
Right.
So I said, you have to get out. I said, no big thing. I said, I don't carry anything. I said, I value. I said, I'm afraid of the police. I said, so I don't need to be driving you down to the shop and getting a 10 stretch. So you meet all kinds of...
But that's the bad luck, isn't it? You could literally have someone in the car and they could have something on them, whether it was drugs or a gun or a knife or whatever, and then you're guilty by association, aren't you?
Well, exactly. And with me, it's not a question. I don't go in the police station and get out in a hurry. I'm straight pass go. I'm like a Monopoly board, You don't
get £200.
No, they've got my Cathay book waiting for me in the prison. Welcome back. So I definitely don't need to be making any silly mistakes. And that's how it was back then in the day.
So obviously you're growing up and you were having a few tear-ups and stuff.
I wouldn't say nothing in particular, but we've always been a family of... I can only speak for myself.
Right.
I liked to do the training when I was young, from about 12, 13. And and I just don't know what it was. I hated trouble up until I was about 12. And then something clicked in my mind, and and then when fights used to happen, we'd have a fight and that was it. I think it's in you more or less. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I've never been one to look and cause trouble. But if somebody done something when I was younger or they wanted to have a fight with me or whatever, I didn't see a fight as having a problem, to be honest. I'd say, well, okay, let's have a go. That's how it was back then.
So did you actually have any fights, proper boxing fights, or was it mainly just sort of bare knuckle stuff?
I had a couple of fights throughout, but nothing to talk about, because, I turned professional for a short time. Look, I've always lived in boxing gyms all my life.
Right.
I do know how to handle myself. I'm not an idiot, and I've trained, and I know what it is, obviously, about fighting. I train fighters. But the thing is, it's when I was younger, it's having that dedication and the time. And if I'm earning a lot of money on the left here, why am I going to go and waste 6 months in a gym for £250 when I can earn 250,000 in that time?
Yeah.
Didn't make sense to me. So that's why the boxing wasn't pursued.
Got it.
Because the finances wasn't worth it to me.
So when did you sort of, find yourself sort of going left rather than right? Was that just you had opportunities or somebody approached you?
I was always a bit of I wouldn't say a bit of a jack the lad, but I was always, I was fairly good in business when I was younger. Obviously, got married young and we made money in the proper way as well. No criminality or anything. And one thing leads to another. You can get, one thing does lead to another. So I've come from there to there. So, in the middle, it's a fuzzy type of thing. But the main thing is, it's, What
was the first
I've been
thing?
involved in serious crime and I've done serious time. So I've paid for everything I've done. To be honest, I've not got away with anything.
Yeah.
Everything I've done looking back in my younger life has come back to me. So what comes around goes around.
Yeah,
so I've ended up...
Anybody who wonders if karma exists.
It does exist. I'm a living example of it. So I paid the price.
Yeah.
So I served nearly 10 years inside.
Wow.
So, categorized up and deny all of the trimmings that go with it,
Right.
So it's definitely not a good experience when you're going through it.
What do you think led you into it, Peter? Do you think it was just because you were doing this, you were doing that, you were meeting these people, and then an opportunity came along, and then you did something, and you went, "Oh, actually, I can turn my hand to this as well." And then
I think, look, when you're young in your 20s, and you got like I don't know what I had, 3 million, 4 million, 5 million. I had money, this kind of money,
right,
which would be a lot of money back then.
I think they call it "fuck you" money.
Yeah.
So back then it was, wasn't it? When was that? In the 80s?
Money. That'd be in the early 80s. Be in the 80s, yeah. No, towards the end of the 80s.
Right.
That's right. So I'd be in my early 20s, and you got the nice houses, you got the nice cars, you got money in the bank. I've got the wife and the kids, but I didn't appreciate any of it. Yeah. So obviously, when something else come, just I don't know. I got involved and I got involved in it, and why earn 400 or 500 grand a year or whatever I was on, or $1 million or whatever it was back then, and I can earn, I might be able to earn 2 or 3 million in 3 or 4 weeks.
Right.
Oh, I'll do that then.
Yeah.
So, and then one thing led to another, whether it be excitement, a change of life or whatever, that was it. So that's the route I probably ended up taking for that reason.
Yeah.
Because I had everything. I had no need to bother with anything.
You wanted more. I mean,
probably wanted more and wanted something different, a bit of a change. Got bored with life, probably.
Yeah. Well, I think that's
looking back, a very stupid, foolish young man.
Yeah.
So
the thing is though, like so many people that have been on this podcast and so many people that I've spoken to in life have all said when they come from a working class background or from the background you've come from where you've had nothing and you've had to build it. And then you achieve what most people would go is living a dream. You've got your house, the car, the wife, the kids. You've got money in the bank, like you said. And then you sort of go, oh, is that it?
Well, that's what happened. I was probably too young. I achieved things too quick. And from really struggling and have nothing, it should have been a lot of appreciation there. But it was self-made. Worked very, very hard to get where I was at the time. But, obviously, just went on. Is that it, like you said? So
what was the first sort of stuff that you got involved in?
Mainly looking after people so as they can do the business.
Got it.
So if they had a problem, I'd be the enforcer to go and deal with it.
Right.
And then it just goes on from there.
I take it you collected debts and, did sort of things like that. What was the biggest debt you collected?
Well, I've been on many debts. I've been on debts for 80 odd 100 million, but not collected them. So it's all pie in the sky. But I think about 2.5, 3 million quid.
I mean, 80 to 100 million, knocking on someone's door saying, can you pay us the money?
Actually, it was part of a big newspaper group in Den Haag, in Holland. He owned it. I can't think of the guy's name. But he's owed 120 odd million. I don't know what it was. It could have been 200 million euros. Wow. I went chasing a guy in the south of France. And he ended up showing me some daft painting in the window. I said, listen, you could go through that window. I said, what's that painting worth? He said, it's worth a call. He said, actually, this fella here must have had about, I don't know, a few $100,000 to his name. I said, mate, I'm not interested. I said, you keep that. And that was it. So yeah, there's been quite a lot of debts, but only few come to fruition, so to speak.
Have you got any a funny story where you've gone to collect a debt? And I mean, that one's quite funny.
I probably have. I can't think off the top of my mind, but there always is funny scenarios when I've had people say, you owe us money. I'm not paying anybody. I don't owe anything. And if you want to, I'll meet you wherever you want and all this. And I said, well, that's okay then. But where? And then they say to me, I'll meet you at such and such a place. And you turn up and they're not there, So you get all these kind of things. And then you get people to turn up and they've got a group of people with them, and that's it. But listen, if the way it was back then, the debts was pretty simplistic, to be fair, because if they owed it, they owed it. You can't come into the room with 10 men and you might be armed up to the teeth or whatever. But if you owe something, you're in the wrong, aren't you?
Yeah.
Then you owe the money. So who's gonna want to stand with somebody who's wrong? Because he's seen what I've always seen: people spin a story and they don't tell the truth. And even sometimes people who's owed the money don't tell the truth either. So it's a mix. But safe to say, I don't do nothing like this anymore.
Yeah, of course.
Of course. But I'm talking about years ago when I was younger.
Yeah, but I think that's the interesting part, because obviously you haven't done a book, but obviously lots of people know about obviously the Fury family. They know about you. They know about various things that have gone on in the past, and I just find it fascinating because I was always sort of in London. I never really got up sort of north, so I sort of missed all the fun and games up there. But
it's actually funny, I think a lot of my business back then was in the south.
Right.
So I seem to know a lot more. I've got a lot more friends in the south here than what I have back at home.
Really?
Yeah. So it was always here. So I've always been. I've had people in Manchester around there, but not like it is here.
From obviously doing the sort of enforcement, the debt collecting and stuff, what was the sort of next step on the journey after that? What was your next sort of?
The next journey, all I can remember is being going into a very small little cell. So the next journey from that is straight to that.
So was that through collecting a debt that you got?
No, that was drugs. That was £3 million worth of drugs coming from Belgium.
So was that something that obviously back then you got sort of mixed up in, or was it like an opportunity where somebody sort of said, "I'm doing this," and you were like, "Oh,
Well, again, it's that earning that few million quid a month, isn't it? Whatever it is. So you get tempted, and that's it. You don't look at the consequences. But when I will say this: when the consequences hit, they hit hard. So I don't know. When you're young, you don't realise a lot of stuff. You can be too game for your own good. When looking back at my life back then, I would say, nothing bothered me at all. I wasn't frightened to death or anything. I've been lucky. I'm not going to say I sit here and I'm some clever dude or whatever, or some clever man. That's not the case. I think I could have had the blessed Lord looking down on me or whatever. I don't know, but I'm lucky to be here, I'd say. Definitely.
Having that thing where you're fearless, you can put your hands up, and you've obviously got respect, but like you said, you're around all this stuff and all this money. I
was respected on the street, probably still am today, because I paid my bills.
Yeah.
And if I took something, I'd pay for it. And if I took something and it fell over, I'd pay for it. I wouldn't take anything if I couldn't pay for it. So I wasn't one of these like a chancer or an idiot on gear.
There's a lot of them, man.
There's a lot of them, yeah. So, I was a serious person doing serious things. So, yes. So it had to be like that. And to gain respect, you've got to be respected by people, and they know you. And respect is earned in whatever life you walk in. If you're a tosser, you are what you are, aren't you? And
you can't untoss yourself.
No, exactly. You're not going to undo it. So I think, look, you are where you are. The best people to talk about you is the people that know you. not yourself. And I've been through everywhere. Everybody knows me up and down this country, and everybody knows me in the system. And in the prisons, whether it be the staff, the guards, the screws, whatever, they're the ones that can speak who I am.
Yeah.
I don't need to push things up. I was just a person that was probably fearless. I trained every day. If anybody had a problem with me, they can have a problem now. Not wait till 2 minutes. We'll have it now. And that was it, you know, and I could get me living, and that's it. And if I took anything on board, just because who I was, and I've never been pressing me weight around either. I've never done that. If I owed something and I was wrong, I'd pay it. And that's it. Because I just want to be paid like I paid. And if people owed me money, I'd make sure they paid it. Because if I owed it, I'm paying it. So you're definitely going to pay it. You know, so it was one of them.
Yeah, I mean, I've only met you a couple of times, Peter, but I've always thought that you're very gentlemanly, not just in your appearance, but in your manner and you know.
Yeah, listen, I respect people. You know, I'm a people's person. You know, that's why I got involved in the boxing. That's probably why we've done so well. I respect everybody, and I don't care who you are. I don't care if you're police, whatever. We're all human. We've all got jobs to do. I don't differentiate with anybody. There's good and bad, and it's the bad I don't want to know.
Yeah.
You know, I ain't got enough time. But good people, I've got all the time in the world for. Yeah, sure.
Somebody did actually say it to me the other day. They said, you know, you've only got a finite amount of time, so spend it wisely.
Yeah, listen, you know, who wants to mess with fools? You know, I've got better things to do. I've been a fool anyway, so I certainly don't want to mess with any more. So I'll stick to trying to be sensible.
So when you, before you got, was you in and out of prison, or was that the first time that you actually properly got?
No, I hadn't done any prison before then. I had a few skirmishes, maybe some fighting things, but never actually went to prison for it.
Yeah.
And then I got 10 years on the first one, and then I got out again, and I got some years later. I think I got out in October 2000. I went in 94, and I came out just before 2001. And then in 2005, they opened another investigation into me, or 2004, whatever it was. And then I got arrested in 06. And I spent another 2 years inside fighting various charges. Money laundering, drugs, whatever, extortion, all of this.
Was that all from the first one?
Well, when it melted down in the end, I had to plead. I took a guilty plea. And to be honest, the reason why I took that guilty plea was to get me missus out of it, because she was looking at 7.
Wow. And
she was in the dock. And I'm not going to see her go to prison for any amount of money. I'd do it myself. You know, I'm not going to send the mother of my kids to prison for my lifestyle or what I've been doing, you know. So we took a guilty plea on the money, which was connected to the previous confiscation on the previous sentence. And that 180 grand, they decided to turn it into maybe 120 million or something. You know, so we ended up running trial assaults. Stupid figures anyway.
So when you first sort of got arrested, was it because somebody had informed on you, or was it just because you got unlucky and, you know, you just was in the wrong place at the wrong time?
No, not really. Sometimes you can be too nice, and you can treat people too nice, and you get shit on. And all through my life, I've had it. You know, I'm big on the loyalty factor, because I've been stabbed in the back many, many times. You know, inside, outside with people. So, and that was no different. You know, I had a guy with me. He'd do anything for me. You know, I mean, this guy be willing to do anything. He was as big as that door. And, you know, he couldn't do enough if you asked him anything. And he'd always be there on one thing or another. But, you know, you've heard the saying, sometimes it's too good to be true. And it was one of them. So he set me up with the Northwest Regional Crime Squad back then.
That was very kind of him, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was, yeah. So, and I got a 10 stretch. And then just before I got out, I had to, they basically told me to make sure I keep away from him, because if anything happens, they'll do me for conspiracy to murder with him, you know? So, and that was it. I never seen the guy again or whatever.
But he, so he, when you say he like connected you, did he like set you up? He literally brought something to the table that was obviously working for the law enforcement.
Oh, exactly. You know, whatever the gear was to be inspected, we all went to go there and inspect it. And suddenly he managed to just drive straight through, and the rest of us got arrested. You know. So yeah, he was.
So that point,
he was all part. He was part of it. I know he was part of it. So but listen, it is what it is.
And that when you got sentenced to 10 years, what was going through your mind? I know you said that you pleaded guilty because they obviously use your wife to say...
No, I didn't plead guilty on the first one. I tried to get off it.
So the first one...
First one, I won a trial.
Right, okay, that was just you. And you went to trial, but then you got found guilty at trial.
Yeah.
And you got 10 for that.
10, yeah.
And what was going through your mind at that point? Because obviously you've not done any prison time. So was you, because you were that sort of fearless nature, you was just like, I've done whatever I've done, I'm just going to have to face it? Or was you just thinking, I fucking can't believe I'm going to waste sort of 10 years of my life in
Yeah,
jail?
exactly. More like that, you know, and I've got the wife and the kids outside. So all that I took for granted, I started realising just what I'd lost. Because I spent about 14 months, if I remember right, on in the, they call them SSUs, like the segregated units. Because I was like triple Cat A, whatever it is. You know, so...
See, we've had Cat A's on it, but not triple Cat A's. You're our first triple Cat A.
Oh, well, yeah, I'll congratulate myself. Yeah, it's a big thing. Yeah. So, so I was in the units. I was in with a lot of the IRA lads and stuff like that. There'd only be like 8 or 9 of us in this... it's a prison within a prison.
So was that Belmarsh?
No, not Belmarsh. It was in Durham. But especially being on remand, I went from block to block. So that back then, I don't know what it is today, but they used to move you within every 28 days. So it'd be like 22, 24, 26 days, you get moved. So I've done a lot of the remand in Liverpool in the block. And the blocks, Harmley in Leeds, Strange Ways, Durham.
And when you talk about a block, for anybody that's watching or listening to this podcast, what is the block? What is it like?
Well, block is a punishment. So you're on the mainstream wings and everybody's together, and you know, and if you do something wrong, you get took down the block. Now the block, you've got nothing. You've got like, for me, it was a paper chair and a paper table and a concrete bed. That's it. There's nothing. And it's, there's no radios. You got nothing.
Was that the same in the segregated unit, or was that a little bit nicer than that?
The segregated unit was a little bit better than that. Yeah.
But
because they did have furniture in there, and it was like a bit of a, it was better.
But was it more like you didn't share a cell, you was all in your own cells, and what was it? Was you banged up for like 24 hours a day, or was it longer than that? Or
sometimes 23, sometimes 24. It depended on if the staff could get you out or not.
Wow.
So you'd just be, listen, you got no life, you're locked away. You can resemble it to a bank where you've got the nice counter and everything. And then obviously where the money is in the vault, you're in the vault. You're locked away from everything. When you go out for exercise, you got mesh on top of mesh like this. And even in the broad daylight, it looks like dark and you can see the stars, but it's not. It's the glimmers through the cracks in the meshing. So as security, you couldn't, Hannibal Lecter couldn't be treated any worse anyway.
wow.
There's 12 of them. When you're coming out for your dinner, there's got to be, I think, 6 or 12 officers there on the ready. So this is to come out and get your food and go back in.
Why is that? Just because they view the people that are in there as the most dangerous prisoners in Britain?
Well, that is true, yeah. That's how they view you, and that's what the police intelligence said. They accused me of all sorts, as a mass murderer and whatever. This is what they use for intelligence.
Wow.
Although there's no proof there, a lot of people talk shit behind your back. But that shit sticks. So obviously, when I went in there, but I probably was dangerous back then anyway. I was controlling a city, so obviously I was somebody.
Yeah. So what was it? What was the city that they said you?
Mainly Stockport in Manchester.
Right. Wow.
Yeah, and it was all different fractions. Like somebody had Salford, somebody had Cheetah Mill.
Was that Paul Massey? Or was
Paul Massey had it? Yeah.
So Paul Massey was there. So you was a king of Stockport then.
I wouldn't say the king, but we all got
They
together.
referred to you as
We
it,
all got
right?
together, and all them names you say was all in my day. Yeah,
Yeah.
we all knew each other pretty well.
What was Paul like?
Very calm, very quiet spoken, decent type of fellow, to be honest.
Yeah. I mean, again, I never really got up north. We did a couple of events in Manchester at the GMX and Sankey Soap and different places, but never really did that much in the north. But obviously, I always knew who Paul Massey was. I think he got a lot of press, didn't he? Because he was quite up for being in the papers, didn't he?
Well, that's it. He's a bit of a face, but there was a lot of other people in Manchester, so that I'm pals with today. I don't really want to discuss their names because they might not like it.
Yeah.
But basically,
Can you get on the podcast, Peter?
there's always a chance. But some good lads back then. It was all in the same kind of business, same kind of thing. So there's a lot dead, and there's a few still around today.
And that was the one thing, I noticed about the north of England. There was people were very trigger happy out there. I mean, we when we did events up there, when we was at the GMX, and this was it was either 99 or 2000, and I was actually standing on the door of the GMX, and we had all these metal detectors, and I saw a guy walk up to the metal detector, and he went like that, and he had a machine. I actually saw the machine gun in his fucking coat, and the security walks him around the metal detector into the venue. So I literally went, I'm fucking going, and I walked in that direction. But there was a lot of shootings, and it just seemed that, I mean, they called it Gunchester at one point, didn't they? I mean, it was a mad place.
Yeah, there was a lot of violence back in the day, and a lot of people did get shot. So it's just, I wouldn't say it's just Manchester. I think the same in London. I think all big cities, you get it,
When you was with Manchester, if you were sort of to draw a map of it, and like you said, you got Cheetham Hill, you got Moss Side, you got Stockport, you've got Paul Massey doing his stuff. What was everybody kind of in their own little pockets, or did you all kind of collaborate? So
no, everybody had their own areas, so I wouldn't come into theirs, and they wouldn't come into ours. So it was like that. Right. Everybody respected everybody's patch, if you know what I mean. So yeah. It worked well. You get the odd idiots that fancied the chances, and then they'd get dealt with.
Yeah.
So I had it a few times where people come in on states and say, right, we're not there, and then the lads would come to me and say, oh, this has happened. We've been told we can't come on here anymore, and this and that. I said, oh, by who? So that'd be dealt with in the next 24, 48 hours. Yeah. Then everything would be back to normal again.
So as soon as there was an issue, it was dealt with straight away. There was never any long periods of time. It was.
But back then it would be dealt with. Yes, I had a lot of people around me, guns, firearms, whatever you want to call it. So if there was a problem, it would be dealt with. Oh. They could either have it one way or the other. Didn't really matter.
I suppose when they've got those choices, it's normally better to go the other route where. You don't.
I think back then when I was younger, it was like a zero tolerance, and that's, if you want to, I'm not saying if you want to do this, I don't want to come over that way, but that's just my mindset. I deal with it. Yeah. So if you're prepared to do that, then you got to do what you got to do, haven't you?
And when you actually found yourself in that prison environment, were you literally? How did you find do it? Did it go quickly for you, or did it feel like literally Chinese water torture?
The Chinese water torture, it was horrible. But I done me prison. I done it as good as anybody. I didn't complain. I got on with it, and the only time really there was problems in there or fights in there, or if they put me near like there was a child molester, or there was a rapist there, or or somebody's murdered his mother or something like that, I ain't fucking being in with them. Don't put me near them, because I'm going to drive the front of your face in. I don't want to know people like that. They're rubbish. They're rats in the sewer. Don't put them near me. So that's probably why I didn't get. I got escorted out when I'd done all my sentence with an Alsatian dog and me cat A book. I never even got reduced.
Have you still kept your cat A book?
I've had bollocks. But
burnt it.
Burnt it. Yeah, I don't want to look at it again. People say, "Oh, you can remember your prison number." No, I refuse to. Even if I remember it, I don't want to do. So, but no, I've always been like that. I can tolerate good people. I don't like, I'm not into all this. I'm not a do-gooder where people need second chances when they've been messing with children and stuff like that. Yeah. I'm not that type of person. Yeah. So that's the only time I had incidents in the prison, dealing with these and stuff.
Did you see any sort of really bad things when you was in prison?
Yeah, I'd see young people come in and, you've got these coming in, they give them stuff to get in the cell and they'd be getting raped in there. All that goes on. You can hear the squeals out of them. A guy come into my cell once and he killed a couple of people, and this is what I mean. And they'd be getting respect on the wing and they seem to do what they want. They want to go and shag some young fella in the wing and then they'll go on a visit and kiss the missus and put the babies on the knees and stuff. I can't get to grips with that. And one guy come to me one day and I said to him, I said, listen, I said, no disrespect. I said, but listen, I don't like you. I said, you sat on my toilet. I said, get yourself up and get out of my cell. He said, what have I done? I said, this is what you do. I said, I know what you do. I said, there's 200 people on here, it's none of my business. I said, but I don't need to speak to you ever again. I said, so you keep out of my way and I'll keep out of yours. Or if you want to get in my way, shut the door behind you. I said, are we clear where we are? Yeah, he said, no problem. I'm glad you're straight with me. I said, that'll do. Never seen him again. Because that's how I was. Yeah. I'm not having it, period. Yeah. I'm just not having it. I wouldn't have that today. Yeah. Never mind. So that's why you see, when you're in them prisons, everybody can play a game out here. Everybody can put like this, they can put a suit on, You don't see the real person. When you're in there, it's an eye-opener. I've seen people supposed to be the dog's bollocks on the street, big names, and what they do in there, they crumble. They're asking people after a few months, have you got any brown? They're doing all sorts. They got women, they got wives there, they got kids, but, they're shagging somebody in there. The lowest of the lowest, that's it. Not everyone, but you'd be surprised.
Right. I take it you had no problems with people propositioning you, Peter.
No, because I just put my fist in the mouth. And it's never happened.
I'm going to politely say no.
Yeah. I'm probably the most ungay person on the planet. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. I think if I was doing natural life, and I'd still probably nearly kill somebody if they'd done that to me,
But no, I just thought, because, I know in prison, obviously there was the stuff, with the Crays, where they was in jail for a long time, and then they started obviously going the other way. And I think people that I know that have been in prison, they have actually said exactly what you said. I'm never going down that road. I'm just doing my time and I'm going to get out. But then other people have sort of just thought, fuck it, you know what I mean? And, someone's got themselves in trouble where they've said to somebody, quite like you. And they're like, mate, this is the wrong cell. You need to go out there and never come back,
I just kept myself to myself and that was it. But people like that I wouldn't socialise with. Right. They wouldn't get my company. I don't care who you are. If I think you're about that, I'm not interested. Yeah. So I kept my own counsel when I was in the prison. I wasn't liking everybody's face, and I wasn't pushing my weight around. I wasn't dealing in drugs. I wasn't doing anything. So I didn't need anybody in there.
And what did you do to pass the time? Because a lot of people do study things. They either do like a qualification, or they read books, or they actually do something to pass the time. What did you do, Peter?
I had a few friends in the prison. Obviously, I knew a fair few people. Not a lot, but just an handful maybe. And I got on with them. And then I used to train for a couple of hours a day, maybe even 4 hours at sometimes. So I liked the gym. And what else? I studied English. Took a few French lessons. I wasn't that good, mind you. And I took a few courses, yeah. I took a few courses to pass the time away.
Have you kept up with the French or not?
Zero. As soon as I got out, I never bothered with anything. So it was just while I was in there keeping myself busy. Yeah. But no, I didn't pursue anything.
And when you finally sort of got through that first sort of period of time, and they sort of moved you down the prison system, did you go to the different categories? Or?
No, I got let out from a maximum security prison in Frankland, in Durham. I was still on the book, so I never got off Cat A. I think we was only one of 9, maybe 10 people in the country then that got out on the book, and I was one of them. So I never did get out. And I said to the guy, the governor, I said, what happens here? I said, they're not get downgraded to Cat B and Cat C and then just get released. He went, no. He says, you're a Cat A inside and you're a Cat A outside. He said, you're a danger to the public, the police and the state. So he said, you're always going to be that. He said, because I believe you're going to be coming back doing 25 years anyway, to life. He said, that's what I think is going to happen with you. And he presented me with a little cheque for £37.50. I said, you know what you can do with that, don't you? I said, you know when I get out in a minute? I says, I'm going to live a fucking millionaire lifestyle. I said, and every day I've done in here, I'll get back 2 million ahead. I said, do you want... So basically, he rubbed me up the wrong way by saying what he said. So I was just having to go back with him, so it never went too good. But on the whole, like with the prison staff and people like that, I got on very well with them. They treated me with respect. Because they told me from day one, as soon as I went in, I got moved as soon as I got arrested and charged, they put me into Durham in the SSU. So I was up there. And like you're buried alive. And when I first went there, there was about 10 of them stood around me and they said, Peter, I'm such a body, can I just talk to you straight? I said, yeah, and carry on. He says, your file is horrendous. He said, that's why you're here. He said, you're extremely violent, you're very powerful, and I believe if we probably said the wrong thing, he said, you could probably have us, nutted down the road until we walk home. He says, you're maximum connected, he said, and, we give you the respect. He said, but if you step out of line, you're here because we have to deal with you, and we will deal with you. Now, he says, you may say to yourself, yeah, hiding, going in the block. He said, we know that's probably not going to work with you, which it wouldn't have worked anyway. I've had hidings all my life, you know what I mean? I'm not partial to taking an hiding. I've took many. So that wasn't bothering me. He said, look, if you play ball with us, you're going to do your time, he said. You're not going to get you're not going to get a day back, he says, because of who you are. He said, let's just be clear. He said, but if you do your time properly, you treat us with respect, we'll treat you with respect, i.e. we'll give you as much exercise as we can. We'll let you get on the phone to your missus as much as you can. We'll let you have the visits 4 or 5 times a week where when you're on basic, you get 1. So he said, these are the type of things, he said, that we can give you. He said, and all we want in return, he said, is a bit of civility, he says, and we don't need our staff being attacked. He said, so if we get that mutual respect, I said, listen, I'm a sensible man. I said, I'm not an idiot. I said, so treat me with respect and guarantee I'll give you respect back. I said, but disrespect me, I said, it's another game altogether. I don't care what happens. I said, but I will not bother you and don't bother with me. And that's the way we had, and they did. They treated me with respect, and I treated them with respect. And you know what? Looking back, they helped me get through the sentence.
Wow.
Because they come and have a chat with me, Because listen, I don't want to chat to some junkie picking up dimps off the floor. I don't want to chat to him, do I? So there's nobody in there. And a lot of the people I got on with, the 4 or 5 people in the system, they wouldn't put me on the same wings because they kept us apart in case we planned stuff. They kept us well distance. When I was on the wings 9 times out of 10, there was nobody to talk to. So the screws would come by and they could give me a sensible conversation because why? Because they work. They've got a family. They've got children. They've got a wife. So I resembled with that. So I like to speak about that because they're outside, aren't they? I don't want to speak to the idiot who's in there, with not a brain cell that you can't talk to. So in that respect, they helped me,
Was you ever tempted when they was sort of saying to you, we're going to treat you with respect? Did you ever? I've been so tempted to have given them a menu and said, look, as long as I can have this really nice ribeye steak.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
I'll be your best prisoner.
Yeah. Then just laughed and shut the big steel door that thick in your face. That's all you'd be getting.
What was the food like, Peter? Because someone said that when you in that unit, you do get a better food than you would in a normal prison, or was it not particularly good?
I think when I was in the units, it was eatable. Yeah, it wasn't bad. But when you went on the mainstream, it was diabolical. You couldn't eat it. I was looking at some, and to be honest with you, it's put me off for life because I don't eat broccoli anymore. Because I went in, I got this broccoli, and I come back, and I'm getting it with the fork and looking at it, and there was maggots in it.
Oh,
So that fixed
would
me.
put you off broccoli for life.
It did put me off, so I don't bother with it.
Yeah.
So it's not good. Look, for a sensible person, jail is hell. Yeah, if you've got nothing and you've got no life on the outside, yeah, then jail is a holiday for you. It depends. It's a person, isn't it? For somebody like me, it was hell on earth. I hated every day of it. So there's nothing big about it. I didn't complain about it. I got on and done it. Wasn't like a lot of people and kissed people's ass trying to get through the system. That never happened.
Did you see any extreme violence while you was in the prison?
I've seen people get killed, yeah.
Wow.
Mm.
Was that them taking their own lives or
No,
other people?
done in.
Wow.
Yeah. I've seen many different things there.
Was that just over nonsense? Because somebody was on recently and they said the problem when you're cooped up in somewhere like that is the slightest thing could set people off. It could be a really small thing on the outside, but in there it means a lot.
I don't know. People's doing life, aren't they? They haven't got anything to lose. And things can trigger off. Mainly it's over debts and drugs and stuff where they can't pay the bills or whatever. And then, or they'll take the money and take the drugs and then put themselves in the block. But, sooner or later, they'll catch up with them.
Yeah.
And then this type of things happens. So I've seen people stabbed through the neck with toilet brushes and all sorts.
Wow. I mean, that is a bad way to go, death by toilet brush.
Yeah, I think he did die, actually, because he went straight through there and come out there and he was shaking on the floor. That was like queuing up for some food on the servery.
Just an everyday occurrence.
But they had some nice steak on that morning. So I stayed in the queue until I got mine. Stepped over him.
He doesn't want it.
Stepped over him and got my thing and went back to the cell. Well, nothing I can do to help him, is it? He's already dead, isn't he? But listen, it's we can talk about it light. But it was not light.
But I think you have to. But I think the only way you can talk about something as horrific as that is laugh at it because it's so horrific. I mean, it's.
When you're on your guard, when you wake up, you're in a minefield. It can come from the back, it can come from the side. You need your wits about you in there. And, a problem can come just like that. Somebody can come up to you in face and basically they can have a problem and you might not even have done anything, but you've got a problem anyway. These kind of things, you're in that type of environment.
So if anybody watching this found themselves in that type of environment, what advice would you give them to survive? If somebody has a problem with you, you just have to deal with it there and then. You can't avoid it. You just have to confront it.
But not everybody can have a fight, can they? And not everybody's got that nature. Some people just won't hit back. Never mind go and attack somebody. So I think the best thing to do, they've got to, if they can't handle themselves or whatever, there's officers in there. They just have to, they need to speak to them. Otherwise, they're going to get bullied and they're going to get messed with.
Yeah.
They're going to be prey to these lifers and, and listen, they'll pile them up. And this is the thing when they're green as grass, they'll pile them up and give them things. But obviously, there's something to be given back.
Yeah.
And they're giving the soul because they're selling themselves and they don't know it. Right. And these things happen.
And when you got to the end of your first sentence and you finally you obviously said when you got out, and they give you that rather generous check of £37.50.
Yeah, to go on the train. I didn't need a train. I had the wife outside. She was waiting to pick me up.
In a Rolls Royce.
No, not a Rolls Royce, but something decent.
And what was that like? I bet that was amazing for you to actually walk out, take a breath of fresh air, see your wife, go home and see your family.
To be honest, I had a lot of ordeals in the prison with the authorities as well. So I thought I was going to get rearrested on the gate.
Wow.
So it was like bittersweet, to be fair. And
did they actually put you on notice? They said, look, we're looking into this, we're looking into that.
Yeah, I had a few visits and stuff, accusing me of one thing and after the other. But like I said, and so you're always it's on the back of your mind. And I don't know. I've never been to prison before, so and all this kind of thing was running through my mind. So it was a bit like that. So I never had an easy ride in there because not only was I doubled up on the Cat A, but I was still being heavily looked into with the police as well. They was trying to put other charges on me back, you know.
Did you have the same lawyer throughout?
On the first one, I did. I had a couple of lawyers, and but I never really, I never got on with them towards the end of it because, you know, maybe one day there will be a book and I'll explain a lot, but you know, the lawyers let me down. I'll say that.
And when did you meet Mr. Green? Was that because they let you down, or was that on the second?
I met Mr. Green it's totally by fluke. A good friend of mine out of Manchester put me onto him, and he said, "You need this man," because he understood this friend of mine. We're friends today, and he said, "You know, they treat you exactly like they treat me." Funny enough, he's from the same area as me, and I've known him for a long time. And he said to win this, he said, you need somebody that's not bothered about the police, that's not bothered about anything, you know, and he'll fight properly, because this was the problem. So when I got rearrested on the second time, bearing in mind, I've got all my cars being bugged up under surveillance. You know, it's a full hit. I've got the.
Did you actually know they were doing that as well?
Well, I didn't at the time, but, you know, listen, I suspected a lot of things, you know, and I was being looked at for about 18, 20 months, probably nearly 2 years. And then they arrested me, and that was it. So we found out in the trial about probes, they call them, intrusive surveillance and stuff. So they said they only had 40 hours, and they had about 900. So that ended up getting me bail in the end, stuff like this.
And where did they put these probes? Was it in your house, in your car? Was it sort of?
I think they're not. There's a lot of stuff where I think looking into it, I think when you come under national security and and you're almost treated like a terrorist, they can get anything past. Wow. You know, so intrusive surveillance, they will get past. So depends who it is.
So the people that were looking at you, I mean, obviously there was the regional crime.
When I got rearrested the second time, it was a soccer. Right. They got hold of me in this one. I know it's disbanded now. It's gone back to the NCA, hasn't it? The National Crime Agency. But it was the Northwest Regional on the first one. Then it was soccer on the second one, and obviously it's gone back to whoever it's gone back to now.
Was there any other agencies? Was sort of like MI5 or MI6 or anyone like that involved, or was it mainly just?
There was, but I think I did see something like CIA or DEA. Right. You know, because I went to America and stuff. I think I was being tracked with them. Wow. So yeah,
so it was massive operation. It wasn't just a sort of local plot.
And I've come across MI5 even before they legally come out and said there was MI5. Wow. So I know all about the system. I know what it is and what it does.
So how did you come across them then? Was that just when you was?
Well, like I said, one day I might do a book, and
so that we've got to keep that for the book.
Well, no, they keep it for the book. But, you know, it's safe to say it was a heavy scene, and I was looking to get into. I was doing my sentence, but I could have ended up doing double, and I never in the end. But also, I never got anything either. So it was one of them.
Yeah.
So they tried to pin other charges on me back, and when they couldn't do it, obviously I come out.
I mean, lots of people, and I don't know if this is just the movies or whether this is real life, but lots of people have said that when you're in a vulnerable position where, like, you're in jail, you're like public enemy number one. You've got everyone saying, "Oh, you've done all these murders, you've done all these drugs, you've done all this bad shit," and then they're treating you like you said a terrorist. Did they approach you and basically say, "Oh, Peter, you know, this can all go away if you tell us this and tell us that," or is that just the movies?
Never happened, because they know who they can approach and who they can't.
I suppose they know what the answer would be as well.
Yeah, so that's not going to happen, because why would they do? If they see somebody as being active and you're a serious individual, they're not interested. They don't want to have any cooperation out of you. They want to bury you alive. Right. You know, so that's what you're up against. You know, that's what I found in my own personal experience anyway. Yeah. You know, so I think if they could have given me a 10-year sentence for nicking them pack of sweets off there, I'd be getting it.
So there's no.
So that's how it was for me
wow.
back then.
Wow.
Yeah, and everything. It could even be a minor thing. I remember I got in some minor trouble, some skirmish in Manchester, and it was like there was a load of these doormen, yeah, and one come forward, and there was 2 or 3 punches landed, and the doorman went on the floor, and I never touched him, but a lot of others come running up, and to be fair to them, they didn't throw any punches, because I said, listen, he's had that, you'll end up getting that. I said, calm down and put my hand down. Because if they'd have come past that, then it would have been a problem again, wouldn't it? But they never. And it was on camera. Yeah? I've got a suit on like this, right? And I'm going to the Ricky Hatton fight with Costa Zoo in probably 1995.
Great fight.
Yeah.
Fight.
Anyway, I've got some London pals of mine that's come up. Here, there's about 10 of us. Yeah? But obviously, anyway, this trouble's kicked off. And anyway, that was it. So the police come. Yeah? Not gone anywhere, because I said to him, turn him on his side, because he's like making funny noises. Yeah. I said, turn him on his side, mate. So he turned him on his side, and that was it. And he was like laid in that position. So the police come, and he said to me, oh, you know, what's going on? I said, well, this is that. Oh. Anyway, he played the camera, and this other one come to me, and he's got these pips on his shoulder, and he went, oh. He said, it would be you, wouldn't it? I said, what? I said, what do you mean? I said, I've come from... He said, listen, just hold it there. He says, I suppose you've come to take all the doors. You know, see what I mean?
Straight away.
Making a mole leap into a mountain. Anyway, in the back of the van, yeah, takes me down to the police station. And I get there, and all of these doormen, I don't know how many, there must have been at least 10. Yeah, and they're all queued up waiting to give a statement. They're even queuing up at the back of the police station, yeah? So they open the door where the metal cages is. So I said, are you proud of yourselves? I said, look at you. I said, look, you're 6'5". I said, and all the muscles on you. I said, you're tattooed from head to foot. I said, no, you can't wait to go in there and make a statement. I said, but you was a cheeky bastard out there, wasn't you? Beforehand. I said, anyway, we can all play that game. And even me saying that, when I went in the police station, he said, what do you mean? We can all play this game. You know? I said, listen, do what you're doing. Anyway, they kept me in for 2 days. 2.5 days.
So you missed the fight, basically.
I missed the fight, yeah. So I was in for 2.5 days. Anyway, they texted me to Manchester court. And the lawyer, he said, oh, it's going to be nothing. They've charged you with a Section 39, which is common assault. I could give you a Section 39 by touching your shoulder if you don't like it. So you think it's nothing, yeah? Anyway, so I said to the lawyer, I said, I don't think you understand. I'm not a normal defendant. I said, I think I'm going to get 6 months. He said, you're having a laugh. That's not going to happen. I said, well, I don't trust it. I said, oh, he said, you're just being paranoid. I said, no, I'm not. I want a QC. I want a barrister here. I want his opinion. Oh, you know, it's going to cost $3,500. I said, I ain't bothered about the money. Get me the barrister. I want him here. Anyway, he comes. So I said, right, what's going to happen? And I think he's called Paul something. I can't remember his name. Anyway, he said, right, what it is, you're going to get, they'll give you a fine. You walk out. So what if they put the hammer down? Well, he said, it's never been done. I said, well, it's going to get done here today. How do I get out? Well, he says, under such an article, he come back to me. He said, give me 10 minutes. He come back. He said, I can get you bail pending an appeal because it's a Section 39. I said, okay, then let's go. Anyway, gets in there. Yeah. Anyway, I could hear the footsteps coming up in the dock. Yeah. Of the prison. So I can see what's going to happen because they wouldn't be there otherwise. And they put us in like a glass cage and shut the door. Yeah. Anyway, yes, well, you know, it's such a serious offence and, you know, the individual and this and that. And it was like, you know, it's bizarre. And we really don't know the motives behind all this. And bearing in mind, it was me who got attacked. Not me attacked them. I didn't throw the first punch at all. Yeah. They did. Yeah. So anyway, goes there. We think, 6 months. We'll give 2 months off for the guilty plea. We sentence you to 4 months prison. Yeah. Anyway, I've looked at him. He's jumped up like a rocket, yeah. And he went, under such a thing. Anyway, they had to open the door and let me out. So that...
Thank God you did that, otherwise you'd have been...
It's, you know. When you're in that environment and you know the way you're looked upon and treated, you get to know. You've got to be You got to be wise to survive.
And when you got to the appeal, then I take it just went.
The judge laughed at it. He laughed at it. He said, we all know who he is. Yeah. And he put me in court number 1, it was a bulletproof glass. I've been in there a few times, but obviously not for that, He's like unbelievable. And they said, and the judge laughed at it. He said, he doesn't need to be here, does he, for this? I think the judge seen through it. Yes, it was ridiculous, yeah. And I never got anything.
Have you always been good pals with Ricky Hatton?
I didn't know Ricky Hatton well. I've met him. Obviously, I know the fella through the boxing. The fella's done great things. He's a real nice fella, Ricky Hatton. And, he was a terrific fighter as well. So, but I've only met Ricky in later life when I've got involved in the boxing. Yeah. I didn't know him back in the days.
I met him, funny enough. We was in Nicky Beach in Marbella. And I was there with my wife, and we just had our first baby, and we was there sort of having a drink. And then the guy who ran it said to me, he said, he said, Ricky Hatton's over there. He's a massive Foot Soldier fan. I said, well, I'm a massive Ricky Hatton fan. He said, well, come over and say hello. So we're chatting and we're having a laugh. And then all of a sudden, the guys come over and he goes, you two need to leave now. And we were like, well, what's going on? And then all of a sudden, you're just like, pap, 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 pap. There was a shootout on the dance floor in this club in Marbella. So we've got like bundled out the door. And my wife's going to me like, she's going like, why the fuck do you bring me to somewhere like this? We got the baby there, blah, blah. I said, I didn't know it was just like shooting each other. I thought Nicky Beach was a nice place.
To be honest with you, crime and stuff, I've left it all behind. And if I had my time over again, I would have never got involved in any of it.
I think that's also one of the common themes. Like anybody who's ever done anything, look, whatever they say you've done, Peter, I'm sure is a lot smaller than what it is. But I'm sure that the actual stuff
100%. Listen,
is 100 times bigger.
90% of what they said.
Right.
It's just, it goes into madness proportions. And some people like the kudos and they want to stick the chest out over it, but I'm the opposite. So it don't pay. It's hell on earth. Yeah. Why do you want to be hunted and people looking at you 24/7 and waiting for you to trip up?
Yeah.
And the way society is today, what friends have you really got? So there's a lot of disloyalties today. And I've witnessed that with people. So basically, do you want to put your life in their hands? Because when I'm going to risk my freedom and I've got my wife and my kids back there, I don't trust anybody. And I certainly wouldn't do. So for me, and that's even if I was greedy and I wanted the money, which I'm no longer greedy. I'm not interested in money. Yeah, I've had that all my life, money. So it's not bothered me. It doesn't change my life. You can have all the money in the world. Yeah, it ain't going to change you as a person. So I'm not interested in anything. I think it was all a waste of time looking back at it. All I've done is give me dear mother and father a lot of grief and me family as well.
And when you come out, so you've had the common assault, which led to you missing the Ricky Hatton versus Costa Zoo fight.
Yeah, I missed
and
that.
Then,
yeah.
and then the next thing was that when they come back for you again
Shortly after, I think not so long, maybe 6 months after that event, they come and then I got arrested on a spot on remand. And the charges, and this is where Nick Green got involved, and I was looking at consecutive charges, which mean fall on one and you fall under arrest.
Right.
So I think there was drugs there looking at 12 to 14, money laundering another 14, and then there was some. They put me the extortion charges or something, and I was looking at 6 or 7. So there's 19 up to 30 odd years.
But if that had happened, did they run concurrently, or was it all bundled up and they said, right, it's 30 in total, that's what you got?
No, they was running separate trials on all of them. And the reason why they was doing this is to give me the max. Wow. Because what happens is, with my previous record and having a conviction for drugs, and obviously I'm back in again for the same thing. So what they tried to do is run me on the drugs first, bring me past out. And I'll be honest, back in the day as well, I don't look like an average Joe. So when the jury look at me, they think, this fucker's a criminal. Because you don't look like a normal person. I'm not a criminal, let's just say. But I'm not, it's like me going now.
I know what you mean, though. I know what you mean.
You've got to look about you and they look at you and they see you're something else. And they think, well, hang on a minute, he's not.
And if you've got someone standing there going, oh,
and you start speaking.
There's rumours about murders.
Yeah.
There's rumours about this.
And you can speak.
There's enforcement.
Yeah,
There's
so
drug
basically
dealing.
you can fall over, but just perception.
Yeah.
Never mind. This man served as a category prisoner. He's done 10 years for drugs, £3 million worth from Belgium or whatever. And you're fighting a drugs case. Where's that going? And you look like you do.
Yeah, and it's sort of like, oh, well, he's obviously gone back to his old ways. So you don't really get a fair crack.
So basically,
Yeah.
you wouldn't have had a leg to stand on. So
what was Nick's thing then? Because
well, they told me I was 18 months into a sentence, or 17 months, something like that. And they said to me, and good friends of mine actually, and I had a lawyer there, Fida Hussein, who done very well for me on the interviews. Everybody helped me. Everybody helped me in the end, and I'm very grateful for what they did for me. And they're all friends of mine today. I still speak to them. Shahid Chowdhury, Middle Weeks. When he was doing the money laundering cases, well, after that, and not the money laundering case, but when I had to pay this £1 million or whatever, he got involved and helped me tremendously with that. So everybody played a role in helping me, these people, and I'm very grateful to them. I think it was another barrister. I'm not going to mention his name again because he probably won't want me to mention it. But he come and said to me, he said, "Listen, we can't get you off." He said, "It's not going to happen." He said, "I'd like to get you off." He said, "But for me to go to the depths I've got to go to try and get you out." He said, "I've got kids in school. I'm affecting my own life." He said, "because I'm here, and this is the systems you're in." So I said, "Okay, thanks for telling me." So 17 months into fighting all these cases, looking a long time in prison, I've got no legal team. So they've all gone the way. I said, "There's no point in having anybody." I said, "Thanks for telling me that." I said, "Now I'll do my own thing."
Yeah.
So I let them all go. And I said to the missus on a visit, I said, "Listen, probably going to go pear-shaped." I said, I think, half come in back then. So if I got, like, say, 30, I don't know, 33 or whatever it was, I can't remember, 33, 36, I would do half of it. I think 15, 16 years I was going to end up doing. So I said, "Look, that's where we are." I said, "It's probably going to come on top." I said, "So that's where we are with it." So we had that discussion, and they said, "Listen, whatever it is, we'll have to just get through it." I said, "Yeah, that's it." So anyway, I went back, and then in comes my pal, introduced this fella, Nick Green. He comes in, and I seen him, and he's telling me, and I got on with him straight away, because he was saying not the normal things, And I said to him, I said, "Listen, I need somebody," I said, "that's going to go at this," I said, "with a sledgehammer." I said, because the judges, the police, the lawyers, everybody's involved in a circuit. I said, and I'm going to go down. So I said, unless you're going to stand at the box. Well, he said, "Listen, I'm struck off." He says, "and I'm hated just as much as you in the legal circle." So he said, "We're a good match." And
Match made in heaven.
Yeah, it's a match made in heaven. So I said, "You'll do." I said, "You definitely struck off." He said, "Listen, I'm fucking struck off." He said, "What do you want me to tell you?" He's actually struck anyway. Anyway, we had some good laughs in them 4 or 5 months, and he was doing the case. He got put back, and I don't suppose he told you the time when we was in there. I'm in this Cat A room, and there's all these officers there, and he decides to lose his cool and gets a set of the files and throws it at me and jumps up. Yeah. Well, so he threw it at me, going berserk. Yeah. Because I'm questioning him backwards and forwards, and he doesn't like it. So he's through these things, and I've just gone like that, move. But as he's jumped up and through this thing, and he's throwing a wobbler, all these screws has come running up, thinking this is going off in here. Yeah. So I've had to put my hand up. I said, "No." I said, "Because they'll terminate the visit." I said, No. I said, "It's okay." So he opened the door. He went, "Are you okay?" Thinking I'm going to attack the lawyer. Yeah. I said, No. I said, "He's fine." I said, "You didn't mean it, did you, Nick?" I said, "Well, sit down." So yeah, he sits down. Anyway, he said, I need some water. And I'm looking at, and I said, "You know what?" I says, "You are fucking raving mad." I said, "But you're just the man I need, yeah." I said, "You're just the man I need." Anyway, we got on like an house on fire, and he was a mastermind with it. So he said, "This fella's obviously stuck your name in. And the other lawyer said to me, now I kept coming back to this fella. Again, I'm not going to mention any names because I don't want to do that. So this fella that done the damage, I kept going back to him. No. Well, the problem is, Peter, if you make a Section 9 statement and it's not him, and he gets arrested and he's in the dock, how's that going to make you look? Well, that done me then. I was snookered, wasn't I? Because how can I make the fucking statement? Yeah, because if I make the statement, then all of a sudden he's a co-accused and I put him in there, where am I going to go with that? I'm a wrong one then because I stuck him in, haven't I? So I'm wrestling with this for 12 months, yeah, thinking, where can I get the proof from? Anyway, we'll go on about where I got the proof from another time and another day. But I found out it was him, for sure. So I done the Section 9 statement, yeah, and said exactly what this motherfucker's role was, yeah. Anyway, obviously, case was dropped straight away, yeah. And I think a couple of pals, I didn't tell them to do it. They must have took it on their own back. So when you're driving into Liverpool, there's a big bridge. So they put the guy's name as a wrong one, to put his name up in bright lights in Liverpool. And I got some stick over that, but it wasn't me. And all these types of stories has gone on. But no, it's been hell. And the very person that stuck me in again, yeah. And bear in mind, these drugs was not mine. I was getting no money out of them, yeah. It was not my thing. I wasn't interested, yeah. So the very person that done this, I think I collected a debt from. I met him because I met him over in Spain, and I collected a debt from. Well, I didn't collect it. They said, look, we've had a problem. Somebody took 60,000 euros off us, and they've robbed us. We can't get the money back, and there's only me and him. Blah blah blah. So I said, no problem. I'll get the money back. Anyway, I phones these people, meets them. I said, give them the money back. I said, you've had them over. Oh, we didn't realise they knew you, Peter, and one thing and another. I said, give them the money back. And they were giving the money back. They said, what do I owe you? I said, nothing. I said, it's not my money. I said, you've been robbed. I said, got your money back. I said, it's a favour, no problem. These very people had me kids on the knee when they was younger. I knew them, and I knew them pretty well. And look what they done. I didn't do anything to them. Why did they have to do that to me? So this is what you're dealing with.
Do you think it was just to save their own skin, basically?
I don't know what people's reasons are, but what I do know is this is a society. So, criminality, whatever. I think it's the sewer down there.
Lots of people that are watching this podcast or listening to this podcast will have watched, these gangster films, and obviously it's all about honour and respect and all this stuff. And one thing that has been a sort of reoccurring theme is there isn't really the loyalty, honour and respect that there was. And it seems now, well, not just now, probably over the past 20, 30 years, that everybody just throws everyone under a bus. There is no loyalty.
I can tell you now, look, even at a crime, and I've helped people, I've always done my best, and people's helped me as well. Some good people out there, not all bad. And the thing is, but I've helped people in many things, and that disloyalty is in the genes. They're going to do it, and they do it, and they got the need to do it. Some people I've helped to heaven and back, done miraculous things for them, but still betrayed you over it.
Wow.
For even helping them. So where do you stand anywhere? Where do you stand today? It sickens you, what you see today, because that's where you are today, to be honest.
I think whether it's crime, whether it's business, whether it's life, you get it.
You get it. So when you meet good people, just keep them.
You have to hold on to them.
Hold on to them, because there's very far and few. And people are subdued. There can be a deal. You're doing a deal with 2 or 3 people, and one will get one on the corner and say, listen, me and you'll do that, and cut him out. All that kind of thing goes on. So that's what you're dealing with, because money's king. Yeah. They'll take that above anything else, and it's the wrong way, and people shouldn't be like that, but it is.
So where did you end up with that case then? You didn't do another 10 years. You managed to.
Well, I got done with the proceeds of crime, and we fought that for 12 months in Manchester Crown Court, and we won that. And then they appealed it, and then he set another date for Liverpool Crown Court. So I think I've done 11 weeks stood trial for 11 weeks in Liverpool Crown Court. And so what happened, they charged me, when the proceeds of crime, they call it POCA, when that fell over and they appealed it and they lost that, they immediately then charged me with the Criminal Justice Act, which he calls the CJA Act, which is similar, the same thing. They're all draconian laws anyway. You know, £1 contaminates 10 million. It doesn't matter. So it's stacked in their favour. So we stood trial on that, and in the end, I had a very fair judge, to be fair, because how it led to this judge, that's another story. How we got to him, because the Recorder of Manchester got my papers and threw them up in the air because he was upset. You know, because I accused him as well. I said, "You're up to no good. You're up to no good, the prosecutor, and you're all with the police." Wow. Because what he done, he gave me a dressing down. I don't think it was him, it was somebody else, and then they put me to the Recorder of Manchester, and he threw the papers up. So I was without legal teams, without a judge, without the lot at one stage, yeah? And in comes this other judge, you know? And he said to me, "I need you to have some faith in the system." He said, "Because I can clearly see you've got none." And I didn't have any. I was paranoid with everybody, yeah? And he says, "I'm going to make sure I give you faith in this legal system, and I'm going to give you the best of fair play," he said. And he did. And he did. And and even when I got out, I got fined £1 million. You know, I sent him a Christmas card. You know, because it could have been 50 times worse. Right. Because I was looking.
Could be 50 million.
Well, yeah. I think the thing is, it wasn't for the sake of that, but the money they was asking for didn't have. Right. So what would have happened? Let's say I had X amount of millions of pounds worth of assets. Well, and let's say he wanted another 10 million on top. Well, the 10 million's not there. So if I'd have lost the Criminal Justice Act, automatically I was going downstairs for another 14. Wow. Yeah. So that judge really saved me life.
So they would take your assets and put you in jail, or would they just take the assets?
No, they take the assets, and because I was asking for far more money than the assets was worth, and it was a lot, that was entailing another 14 stretch.
Wow. I mean, I suppose really that could be open to abuse, couldn't it? Because they could look at your assets and go, "He's only got 5 or 10 or 2 or whatever. Yeah. Let's just say it's 10, and then put him back inside for another 10 years or whatever."
Well, that's what was going on.
Wow.
And, save today. And he says, "I don't find him guilty of the Criminal Justice Act." And then from the old offence, the money I pleaded guilty to get the missus off with it, it was 170 grand or something. And that turned into $1 million. And I think he said to me, it's not bad because I think he said you're paying 10% of what they originally wanted or something. So whatever it was, it must have been 10 million or 20, I don't know what it was. So I ended up doing that. But I was very happy, I was grateful for it. And so anyway, I pays this money, and I pays £1 million, and I ended up paying a lot more in the end. Because anyway, it went over. I ended up paying another 150 grand and then they asked me for a car or something. That cost me another 150 grand. So it probably cost me about 1.5 million in the end. But the funny thing is, I've paid the money, yeah? So I get a text on my phone. And I'm looking at this text and I couldn't make it out. "You've not paid your Proceeds of Crime Act." Yeah? I had to go to the card machine and pay, how much? £12.50 was a little bit accrued in interest. I paid fucking nearly £1.5 million, yeah? I had to go to the little card machine, yeah, and slot this in. And then let's move on a little bit. So I don't know if it was before or after. No, I think it was again. It'd be after. It gets a knock on my door, yeah? So somebody comes in, we has words or whatever. Anyway, in the evening time, I get rearrested. Again, yeah? Taken down to Salford police station, held overnight, and in Manchester Crown Court the next morning. So, I got out anyway. He said, "Listen, we're just letting him know that, if he thinks he's going to do what he thinks he's going to do, that's not going to happen. And if he goes, basically, it was arresting me to tell me not to bother with these people. Yeah. otherwise there's going to be severe consequences and all this rubbish. Yeah. So anyway, I went out, and then sometime later, they issued me with something else for some more paperwork for this car or whatever, and ended up sorting that. But they did say this. They said, look, we're happy that he's no longer involved with crime. Yeah? And, because, listen, this is what I mean. There's far more people talking to the police than you realise. Yeah? So anyway, for their intelligence or whatever, we're happy he's not involved with crime, but we want that car. Yeah? Some Ferrari or whatever that they nicked when I got nicked beforehand at the original time. And I said to the barrister, he said, well, that car's like whatever it is, 130, 150, whatever, I can't remember the price of it. And he says, you don't have to give him the car, they've got no evidence at all. I said, yeah, so we'll go and talk to him, I said, and see what they're saying then. Why me? I said, if they can't have the car then. So anyway, he said, well, I don't know, I'll go speak to him. And he comes back down, he goes, right, the prosecutor said to me to tell you, yeah, police are happy you're not doing anything. They don't see you being involved in crime at this present time. Yeah. So if you want it, we know the car belongs to Mr. Fury. Forget other people owning it. It's his. That's what they said. And he says, we're happy to take the car, and he's got our word, we won't bother with him again. Unless he gets involved in more crime. Yeah? Because we'll draw a line underneath it. So naturally, I said to the barrister, I said, can you get that in writing? Yeah. So he said, no, he said, it's not done like that. I said, well, how can I trust these, please? He said, well, you can't. He said, you're going to be looked at, he said, probably till you're in your 70s. Yeah. He said, you're always going to be looked at for the type of person you are and the people you know. So I said, look, I'll take the chance. I said, tell you what, tell them not to bother with me again. I'm out of all crime, I said. Take the car. I said, they can have it. Now, bearing in mind, I didn't have to give them the car because I could have kept it. But what they said is, if you want to keep the car, that's fine. But basically, hinting, if we say anything at all, any little thing will come back because we feel you should part with his car money. Right? Anyway, I give them the car money. And true to this day, they've kept the word and they've never bothered with me again.
And at that point, Peter, when you look back over that period of time and you look at, like you said, what you've earned, what you've done, but you basically, if you'd have had your time again, would you have just not done any of it?
If I'd had my time over again, I'd have just been what I do now. And my faith is a big part of my life right now. So when I got into that.
Was that when you was in prison or was that when you come out?
When I was in prison, but not when I was in prison, when I come out as well. But even more like in later years. So now it's, now I'm all about the principles, the values, the morals, the respect. I'm more looking at that. So that's where I'm at. And it's a pity I never had that frame of mind altogether when I was younger. But we are where we are. You can't change the past, can you?
So when you made that decision, right, that's it, I'm done. What then got you into obviously the boxing, the actual training, the managing stuff? Was that something you'd always wanted to do? Was it something that you?
It's totally random. It happened just by accident. People's always come to me for advice, and I've given them advice. And I only got into boxing because I was training my son, and and from there training him, and a few other people's got involved in it over the years, and I've helped them. And that's what I've looked at it. I don't class myself as a trainer or anything, and boxing's never paid me any considerable money. I've always had money anyway. So what can a fighter give me? 10, 20 grand or maybe 100,000? I've got businesses, that far exceeds anything like that. So,
but you have become, one of the world's best boxing trainers. I mean,
I've done a lot for people, even in boxing, but I've never really had it in return.
Right.
They've had a lot done for them. But it's not come back to me in one way or another, which I'm not going to go into that. That is what it is. It's part of human nature. But
I mean, I remember vividly, and I'm pretty sure it was 2015, when you trained Tyson Fury and he fought Klitschko, and everyone was like, Klitschko's not going to, he's going to do him, he's going to this, that, and the other, and Fury hasn't got a chance, blah, blah, blah. And I was just thinking to myself, you know, obviously as a Brit, you obviously want your guy to win, right? And that night, I mean, he did give Klitschko a fucking masterclass in boxing, I thought. And I actually was like, wow. And I remember, and obviously at that point, air paths had never crossed. But then I thought, oh, wow. His dad's training, thinking he was his dad, because I saw Peter Fury. And then Alfie, who you know very well, who's no, Peter's his uncle, right? And I was like, well, what he's done is unbelievable. I actually said, he, after this fight, he'll probably have a queue a mile long with people saying, train me, I want to be the champion, you know?
You know what it is? The diamond's always got to be there. And, you know, you're here, they're young people, aren't they? So you're there to guide them and, you know, put, you know, not that they haven't got confidence already, take the uncertainty away. And the talent's there, and it's up, you know, if you can hone them skill sets and give them that invincible confidence, you know, and yeah, you know, I've imparted things with him, with other fighters, and, you know, so far it's worked.
How does your relationship with your fighters work? Obviously, with Yuri, who's your son, do you find it's harder to train him because he's your son, or do you just literally have your way of training and you either can do it or you're not going to train them? Are you quite hard on your fighters?
Yeah, listen, if they're not doing it right, they're not doing it right. But they need to understand that nobody's going to get it right every day. They're in the gym every day, so it's Groundhog Day. So they got to take. There's a lot involved in it, to be fair, and a lot of it is mentally. So, you know, you guide the fighters and you guide them through, and it's a rocky road. It's not easy. It's not easy to get fighters up there, you know. And then when they become world champions, you know, that's when they can really take off. Then they're established. But establishing that fighter and giving them the mental confidence to get there, that's another matter.
Yeah.
And that takes, you know, I'd say, you know, looking at boxing, you know, it takes a piece out of me. You know, it's a lot of dedication. You know, and you got to put your life into them to get them where they need to be. And I think if I never had a good nature, or I didn't believe solely in the blessed Lord the way I do, then I wouldn't be able to help them as much as how I help them. So
you see it as a calling. Literally, you've gone through that kind of upbringing. I wouldn't say
it's a calling. I wouldn't say I do it because, you know, Jesus Christ tells me to do it. It's not like that. If somebody comes for me help and I can see that they need the help and I can see that I can do something for them, I'm happy to do it for them, if you know what I mean. Yeah. But at the same rule, it takes a lot out of me as well.
Yeah.
So it is. It's very time consuming, and it's a mission. But look, you know, I've got my son involved in it now. He's back in February, and you know, let's see what he does. And I'd like maybe I've got one or two people that's acquiring me help at the moment, and as soon as they don't need me anymore, I'm happy with it. Right. You know, because it's not me needing them, is it? You know, but a bit of appreciation would go a long way, but you seldomly get it, especially in boxing. Boxing is like life on the street, anywhere, same.
With because Savannah Miller, you obviously train her as well. I obviously watched that fight with Clarissa Shields. Do you think she'll have a rematch with her? Or?
I think so. They're on a collision course, and I don't see anything else.
Yeah.
Because they're good for each other. I think whatever happens, they're both going to make a lot of money, and that's the thing. And obviously now, Savannah, when she lost that fight, she's now undisputed champion of the world. So she's got the pedestal now. It's all there.
I mean, it's funny because I remember when women first went into boxing, and was it amateur? Was it pro, or did they let them do both? I can't remember.
No, they let them they box amateur as well.
Yeah, because I remember watching it, and there was a boxer, and I'm sure you'll know her name, Kathy the Bitch Brown. Have you ever seen? Did you ever meet her?
That rings a bell to me.
Yeah, she's actually quite funny because I was at an event and someone said to me, "Oh, this is Kathy Brown." I said, "Hello, Kathy, how you doing?" And she was, you know, like somebody that you'd imagine would have just walked off a catwalk, and she went literally. She said, "Oh, yeah, nice to meet you." But she said, "I've got to go and get ready now because I'm fighting in a minute." And I was like, "Oh, you're a boxer?" She went, "Yeah, Kathy the Bitch Brown." And then she come in and she was literally transformed because she had all her hair done differently. And I mean, she was ferocious, ferocious.
I know, it's unbelievable. You look at these pretty young girls and you think to yourself, how's that possible?
I mean, genuinely.
But then when they're ready, listen, it's opened my eyes because I never trained women before.
What's the difference, would you say, between training, a female boxer and a male boxer? Do you use the same principles, or
it has got to be treated a little bit differently, because I get reminded regular that I'm too harsh, so they're a bit more temperamental, I think.
Right.
I think the feelings can be hurt a lot easier than men, so they can take it to heart a little bit.
Right.
But it's that's the only difference. Yeah. It's a little bit more temperamental with the women's side.
Because I remember when Muhammad Ali's daughter was boxing, and she looked like she was getting, and then you didn't hear it from her anymore. Is that because did she retire, or did she just get to her peak?
She was actually a very good boxer. Layla Ali, you're talking about. She was very good, and she retired world champion.
Wow. Because I remember seeing her just go boom, and then all of a sudden you just hear from her again. I was like,
she won everything as far as I can remember.
Yeah.
And she was very good.
It's in the DNA.
Definitely. Who could argue with that one? Nobody. Fabulous. But no, life's where we are. But you look at everything. We've got wars going on. The churches today. It's all going up in the air, isn't it?
So what are you sort of focusing on now, Peter? Have you got some things that you're working on, or some things that you want to achieve?
The clock's running out. I'm 55 years of age. So
you don't. That's not old, Peter. You're just getting started, mate. You're in the middle.
Yeah, you're gonna say that as well. But the thing is I don't know. I've done a lot in my life already, and I'm tired.
Right.
What I want to do is
have a bit of fun.
I want to look after my health, make sure the people around me is all right, and I've got children as well, so I want to see the best for them.
Yeah.
Same as any family man, really. Yeah. And that's it. A peaceful life. That's what I'm after.
I tell you what, I did have Dougie Joyce come on here.
Dougie, yes, I know you.
And I interviewed him recently, and I was actually talking to him about, obviously, bare knuckle fights and different things. And he actually said the hardest man he's fought was you.
No, he fought my son, because he's a lot younger than me, Dougie.
Right, no, because he said, he must have got the Fury mixed up. Because
because my son's the same name as me. He's on about Peter Jr., he's not on about me. Yeah, I'm 55 years of age. I think Dougie's still in his 30s. He's a similar age to my son. Yeah,
because he said
my son's about 34.
Because he said to me, he said the hardest man I fought was Peter Fury, and I thought he was talking about you, Peter. And he said he had 2 hours, and he said he wouldn't go down. I wouldn't go down. We just stood and had it for 2 hours.
While that was going on, I was in France, and they're all ringing me up, and they've gone down there on something. Anyway, they're having this fight up and down. Anyway, it rings me again. It's still going on. I said, right. I said, if they can't do anything in this amount of time, I said, with each other, tell them to call it a day and shake hands and be friends, innit? Yeah. Anyway, they did do, and they become good friends. So that's what I mean. No knives, no guns, nothing. They had a fight, the best of pals today. And I've had similar issues when I was a young man with other people. We're good friends today, How could I think back and say somebody like that's going to be in a box because of you? For what? A punch in the mouth? Right. What does that mean? What's the big deal about it? So that's the way I view things. And I'd rather get set about with 10 men and put in intensive care rather than shoot one, because I know I'm going to get 30 or 40 years in prison. My life's gone. Either way. So I'll take my chance with nothing.
Yeah.
I'd rather get beat to death, actually. Because I don't want to go back.
I don't think that's going to ever happen to you.
I hope not, because I'm not a troublesome man. I keep everywhere, and I can see danger as well. If I see a lot of lads walking across the street, whether I can handle myself or not, I'm not interested. Yeah. Peaceful life, that's what I need. And my old man said to me, when you see a problem coming, he said, look, don't just look in front of your feet, look up. He said, and avoid it. Don't walk into a bus, step around it.
That's great advice. That is great.
It is, my old man. And he said to me when he was dying, he said, listen, you've got friends everywhere. He said, you know people everywhere, all over the world, he said, you're known everywhere, which is true. But he said, when you come in later life, he said, you'll count your friends on one hand. And he's right, because I still ain't filled that one hand up. And I know a lot of people. So it is what it is. But I think if everybody can be right with each other, which is very, very difficult, and what can you say? life goes on. No, listen, we can't put the world to rights no matter what we do, but you can only do your best, can't you?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Peter, I've really enjoyed having you on the show, and it's been great hearing your story.
It's good of you to have me. It's been a pleasure.
And I think all of our viewers and listeners are going to enjoy hearing your story. And also, I mean, you've given some good advice as well. And have you got any a grand finale pearl of wisdom that you'd like to share with us?
Pearl of wisdom. I don't know what wisdom there is.
Or tell us a joke if you've got a funny joke.
You know what? I'm not really a jokey type of person. Right. I like jokes to be told to me, but I don't know any.
Right.
I think for young people growing up, I think it's easy to get involved with other people. And when you're from poor societies as well, and your next door neighbour and all your estate's up to no good, it's easy to get involved in it. But if they can take a step back, there's help out there for everybody. And I think whatever you want to do in your life, you'll get there. I've been young when I was a young kid, and I never had a 10 pence piece. I'd walk left, I'd walk right. I couldn't even go to the shop and buy myself anything. I never had anything. And I never had anybody to get me anything. But yet, I ended up making money. And I got where I was going, because you know why? It's determination. And people said to me, look, I had millions, lost millions, got a big sentence, come out to nothing, made money, got another sentence, paid money out again. Yeah. And I'm all right today. So there is, understand that life is a roller coaster. It ain't going to go right for you all the time. And when it goes wrong, let's see what type of man you are and see how you can take it. Because when the shit hits the fan, let's see what you're like then. See what friends you got then.
That is true.
Because all the hangers on will fly out the door. And this is why I mix with very few people today. Because I've seen it. I've been right up there. I've seen where people are and doing this and doing that. And I'll tell you what it is. And I think that's why my fighters do well. Because I'm an expert in human nature. Because I've seen some atrocities. And I've seen some disloyal motherfuckers as well. And I've had it done to me. Throughout my life. So I've been there. I've worn that t-shirt. And I can look forward now. And I'm glad to be out of it and away from the lot. And people who's right with me, they could have my arms and my legs. And the people who's not, I'm not interested. I don't care if they've got 10 pence. I don't care if they're billionaires. I'm not interested in them.
I think what you should do as a business idea, you should patent and create a disloyal motherfucker radar.
I think it's a good idea. I think you should do it, and I'll back it up.
Peter Fury's got a new invention.
Get it out there. Because it's life. But what I'm saying will resonate with you as well, because we've all lived that circle anyway, in one way or another. You don't have to go to prison. That's one thing.
Yeah.
But what I'm touching on happens to when you get to my age. You see it, don't you?
Absolutely. And all walks of life, all businesses, you know, people, family, everything. You know, it's like a virus that needs to be cured. But I think what you were saying about the respect is important. I think also people think about themselves. They just go, what's good for me? I'll have that, fuck you. And you know, they do tread all over people and not think about the consequence and not think about the damage they're causing.
Well, it's all about me, isn't it? It's what you can do for me. It's not what, life's a two-way street. It should be.
Yeah.
You know, I don't mix with people and thinking, what can I get from them? I'm my own man. I get my own living.
Yeah.
I don't need people for that, do I? So what do I need them for? But you help them, but they must see the same thing. They must see, I can get what I can from him. And then when I get what I can, I'm gone and I've done my thing. It's like take. And you know what? Today's society think they're entitled to do that. And it's correct. They think they're correct doing that. The way they shape up. But that's not correct in my world.
No.
You don't use people, do you? So that's what you get today.
Yeah.
If you've got something, if you're a tramp on that street, I will stop by and talk to that tramp and give him a few quid if I've got it on me, yeah? I'll speak to them because you'll get a genuine conversation out of them. Because why are they there? They've had ups and downs, they've struggled, haven't they? Yeah? You have a better conversation out of them than what you can some almighty fucking idiot that thinks he owns the world. Where they think to self, it's all about me. Because then the true character comes out. That's when you see how people are. You see it, So down-to-earth people and proper godly people, that's the one. And people use a lot of fake shit, you know. They'll speak and use the blessed Lord at the mouth every 2 seconds. But act it, no.
That's a lot harder.
Anybody can talk a good show, can't they? You know.
A lot of talkers, but not that many walkers.
Well, that's true. And same with religions as well. You know, that's what I see. You know, look at the Catholic Church, and I'm a Catholic myself. You know, with all this going on, you know, messing with little kids and these priests doing this, so it affects the real people, the real religion. Do I believe in the Catholic Church? Yes, I do. Yeah, I believe in the blessed Lord. But there's that much stigmatizer with it now. It's dampened it. Rather than just coming out, say, in Rome and just saying, listen, he's a pedophile, get rid of him, and get rid of him. Because they've tried to keep appearances with it, they've damaged themselves, the church.
You know what's really mad? Like we had a guest on here recently who took it upon himself basically to expose these grooming gangs that were in Rochford, right?
Yeah, he needs a medal,
right? And it happened to be that these people were Muslims, right? And
Rochdale.
Was it
Rochdale? I've seen this on the news. It was big news at the time.
And he actually said, it wouldn't have mattered what they were or who they were, what colour they were. It was just the fact of what they were doing was wrong, and I wanted to expose them. And I think, unfortunately, like what you said about the Catholic Church, what's happened, you know, they call them these Muslim grooming gangs. You know, you've got this stuff happening and it just happens. But it's happening outside of religion as well.
Yeah, but they like to label a brush. Not all Muslims are like that, are they?
No.
And listen, how many people like in our Western culture are like that? There's an army of pedophiles out there.
Absolutely. But they
don't distinguish, do they?
But what I don't get is what you just said, right? If you know it's going on and it's been exposed, it doesn't matter what religion you are, you should be wanting to get rid of those people because they're tainting.
Exactly. So what they do, they sit there in that room or wherever where the main lot are, and they say to themselves, oh, this, you know, if this gets out, we're ruined, brush it under the carpet. Worst thing ever. They just expose it.
It's better to get rid of it, cut it out.
Well, exactly.
Cut it out.
And then they lose all their credibility. And then they try and move forward with the modern cultures, and it's going all over the place. I think the world's losing a lot of values and a lot of respect.
We need to get it back, Peter. We got to do that somehow. I don't know how, but we got to do it.
Well, I'm a former convict, so whatever I say means shit on that. Yeah. So you'll have to do it.
Okay, I'll be your spokesman.
So you be your spokesman. I'll fire the bullets, yeah, and you speak them because I'll take it from you.
Happy days.
Happy days, yeah.
But Peter, thank you so much for coming on.
It's good to see you.
It's been really good to see you and have a really good chat. But thanks again. Thank you so much for tuning in to the Criminal Connection podcast. Peter Fury, what a guest, what a legend. Make sure you tune in next week. We've got another really good guest.